One come all, those short, those tall. There may be some clowning around, but get an earful, all in all. No need for waivers, no need for saviors. Don't be frightened, do not hide. Enter now and enjoy the ride. So step right up, those far and near. The attraction is set. It's Ear for Fear.
Welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast. This is the podcast that talks about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. I'm Rick.
I'm Morris.
What's up?
What's up, dude?
What are you doing? You just were in the neighborhood, thought you stopped by.
Yeah, and talk about this fun-filled, clowning around kind of movie that we have going on today.
Yeah. It's been a while since you've been out, huh?
It has.
What did we do last? Do you remember?
Dude,
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Sucks when you get old like us.
Yeah.
Today you and I are doing 2025's Clown in a Cornfield.
Look out!
They're really big on tradition around here.
Every year, there's this parade where everyone gathers around a Frendo float.
Frendo.
It's the clown on all the Bay Pen corn syrup labels. He's practically a local legend.
Are you a friend of Frendo?
I am a friend of Frendo.
I don't know if I'm a friend.
You know?
After seeing the movie, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a friend. I think I'm more of an acquaintance. You and I just went and watched this.
Oh, we did.
It just came out yesterday. So when this releases, I think we'll release it in a few days. But yeah, you and I just saw it.
Yeah.
So everyone needs to forgive us in advance if we don't remember everything because
Yeah, it's a one-time.
it's a one-time viewing and we're not going to remember everything.
Yeah.
Hell, we're so old, even if we watch it 2 or 3 times, we're not going to remember everything.
Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, this is 2025's Clown in a Cornfield. I'll do a quick synopsis. A fading Midwestern town is terrorized by a clown who goes homicidal and decides that the only way for the town to flourish is to eliminate the rotten crop of kids who live there now.
That's pretty accurate.
It's kind of accurate, huh?
Yeah, now this is based on a book series that's kind of popular right now.
Yeah.
For Adam Cesar. Cesar? There's like 3 books that are out right now, and this is
right?
based on the first book.
It's a book. It's not like a comic book or anything.
No.
It's just straight up book.
It's a straight up novel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full spoilers.
1, 2, spoilers coming for you.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it and you don't want it spoiled, I would say kind of pause us, go see it, and then come back. I was looking forward to this movie, man. Like when we saw the trailer for this months ago, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. I like clown stuff. I mean, I guess my exception would be the Terrifier series, but I know you probably like it.
Oh, I do.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but to be fair, I've only seen the first one. I just know what it is, and I'm just whatever.
Well, yeah, it's for gorehounds.
Yeah, but I mean, I got my cool little Killer Clowns from Outer Space cup right here, drinking my iced tea out of. So, I just when we saw the trailer, I really was excited about this. It looked really good in the trailer.
Well, not to mention you are a huge fan of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah,
and where I think you probably love that movie a little bit more than I do, and not that I don't love it.
Yeah,
but we saw that it was the same director. So
yeah. I had no idea until you just mentioned that.
Oh, really? Okay.
And once you mentioned that, I could kind of see the similarities
yeah.
in his directing style. It's hard with me because I liked this movie, but I didn't love this movie. I thought I was going to really enjoy it and love it, and I wanted to, and it just kind of, I'm not going to say fell flat for me, because I think there's some fun stuff in this, and there's some decent kills. I think when I went into it, I thought it was going to be different than what it was, right?
So, let me ask you this, because this is the problem I had with another movie I think you enjoyed more than I did, which was Totally Killer.
Yeah, and let me be fair, or clear here. I didn't love Totally Killer.
No.
I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think you enjoyed it less.
I did.
And that happens with you and I, and that's fine.
And I felt I had to watch it a second time to I felt like, well, maybe I'm being unfair to it.
Yeah.
And maybe I should watch it again. So I did give it another chance. Then I found that I didn't like the main character.
Really?
That was my problem, was the main character.
I have to rewatch it again because I only saw it the one time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not feeling the main character, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, and I would say in this one, like Quinn, who is she plays a 17-year-old in this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's our protagonist.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I wanted to like her more.
Yeah.
I think I wanted her to. I just don't think she was likable enough.
Yeah.
Like they move into this town and she's immediately like 2 days into this thing gonna sleep with the I don't know this. I don't even know what you call him, but I mean his name is, the character's name is Cole.
Yeah.
His great grandfather or grandfather created this syrup. And the syrup...
It's a corn syrup.
It's a corn syrup, which is what made the town, I guess...
kind of profitable and famous.
Yeah, many, many, many years ago. And so it's just been passed down, right? So his dad is like, I think, the mayor of the town.
He is, yeah.
And so he's, they got money. He's popular, right?
Yeah, I would say he's probably the most popular kid in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, she moves here and she's... 2 days in, we turn to each other and we're like, would this really happen in real life?
I don't know.
Where a girl would be accepted into the popular group and be a part of the gang within the second day?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, man. Her father is a doctor.
Yeah.
The mother, his wife, died during the summer. She overdosed. And so I think they mentioned he worked in the ER.
Yeah.
It was the ER or the OR. I can't remember which one.
I think he was
said.
a ER doctor.
He was an ER doctor?
Yeah.
And he couldn't handle it anymore. He wanted to get away. And we see this a lot, right? In horror, especially in horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The opening shot is somebody with a packed up car going to a new town.
New town.
That's like 85% of the movies we've been seeing nowadays.
Yes. And so...
make a new start.
You make a new start. And the previous doctor retired. And so he decided, okay, I'm gonna be the new doctor in this small little town. And it honestly... Small towns have their charm. This one it felt like it was stuck in some time capsule or something like, and I think that was kind of the point.
That was the point. That was the point they were trying to drive home because essentially this is a clash of the generations.
Yes,
yeah.
pretty much.
And we'll leave it at that for right now, and then we'll delve a little bit more into that later on.
The movie starts right. I think it starts in 1991, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Year
you that wasn't the year you graduated high school.
I graduated in 1990, but
90,
Donovan was born in 91.
That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And so they're out. Of course, all the teenage kids are out partying. Drinking and smoking weed, like right, and then we get a couple kills right away.
Oh, but hold on. Before that, remember everyone's around the campfire. No words are said. Girl just kind of nods to the guy.
Yeah.
And drunk guy goes and follows girl into the cornfield.
Yeah.
And I turn to you and I go, "This is like the opening of Jaws."
Jaws. It did really
because there was no words.
Because didn't even she take off? She took off
her top.
She takes off her top, and you can see her bra. And it was very reminiscent of Jaws.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, of course we know nothing good is going to happen here.
No.
But what I thought was kind of okay. I guess what I was hoping for with that scene was was it gonna give us a precursor to
Like who the killer was going to be?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or was there a reason? Like I just felt like there was going to be something there, and it was literally the couple gets killed, and then it's now, and now it's current.
It's current times. Yeah, because no super spoiler at this point, but
you could spoil it.
But I know we already said
warned
spoiler.
everybody.
But the thing is I thought that scene, being that it was 91, and being that all the adults nowadays would probably have been teenagers at that time.
Yeah.
That it tied into who some of those people were. Like somebody was related to who got killed.
Possibly, but then we get no explanation of any of that.
No explanation whatsoever. Because so that's never brought back up again.
So let's say 91, right? That's 34 years ago, and let's call them 17. 44, that's, what's that, 50, 50, or close to 50?
Yeah.
They're close to 50.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I thought maybe that would come back into play and tie in.
Yeah.
To me, with this movie, there are aspects of it that I think are solid.
Yeah.
I love the stuff with the clowns. I love the look of the clowns. I think it's creepy as hell.
Oh yeah.
I like the little box that they have throughout
the Jack in the Box.
The little Jack in the Box throughout the movie. But I felt at times this thing was just all over the place. It felt a bit of a mess to me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what. It's not like with Tucker and Dale versus Evil, since you brought it up. Mm-hmm. You knew right away what this was. And since it's the same writer director, I don't know if it was written by the same person or no.
I'm
different
sure
writer.
It's by that Adam Cesar guy that did the book series.
I see. Okay, so but of course it has to be adapted, right?
So it looks like it's adapted by the director as well as another person.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. So with Tucker and Dale versus Evil, you knew what this was. It's like you got these teenagers, right? There's they think they're the killers. They're not killers. They're good dudes. But this, it was just I couldn't figure out what there's humor, but then the humor just kind of fell flat for me. Mm-hmm. Like I never at any time did I don't know, you sat right next to me.
Yeah.
Did I ever really laugh?
No, you didn't.
I never found anything like it was trying to be funny.
I think I chuckled a couple times, but I mean I also chuckled at Hard Eyes when we saw that way back in February, and also the monkey. So it's
the monkey. The monkey. There was because the monkey is done in a way.
Oh yeah,
that it's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and it's so crazy.
Yeah.
That you have to laugh.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like when you and I went and saw The Substance, right? Like
it's
the
ridiculous.
ending was just so crazy that you find humor in it, and the monkey was like that. It wasn't the same with this, and I was kind of hoping this would be more on the kind of campy side.
Yeah,
and it wasn't for me.
No, it played more like a straight slasher with a tongue in cheek in place.
But it didn't. Okay, I think what I would have liked with this movie was that I almost would have preferred if you're going to do a slasher, because slashers work better when, let's say you do a slasher right now.
Yeah.
If you base it in the 80s or the 90s, it works better. So
I think so. Yeah.
So it's a 2025 film, but the audience knows it's from the 80s or the 90s just by the date on the screen or how they're acting or dressing.
Yeah.
I think it works better. Here, it's hard. I'm not saying it's impossible to do a slasher nowadays, but this one, the way they did it with the teenagers and the dialogue, and I didn't feel it. Like Thanksgiving, I felt worked better.
So you know what it was? Because Thanksgiving was written by Eli Roth, and Eli Roth is an aged contemporary.
Yes, he is,
because he's of our age.
Correct.
So he's writing teenagers in today's society, but with dialogue from how we would want them to talk.
Yeah.
I think this is written by people. Well, maybe not Eli Craig. I'm not sure of Eli Craig's age.
Yeah.
But Adam Cesar, I know he's a younger guy.
Okay.
And maybe he's more in tune with today's lingo and I think that's the problem I was having with
Totally Killer.
Totally Killers,
Yeah.
because even though it's the girl going back in the past to try to save her mom,
Yeah.
Spoiler on that movie, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
it was, I think it's written to appease and appeal to teenagers nowadays, because
Yeah.
I think some of that jargon and lingo and things like that really don't apply to us, and
Well, they don't resonate with us
they don't-
because you and I are.
and we find it irritating.
It was irritating.
Yes.
Like I turned to you, and I'm not gonna say what I said, but there were certain things in the movie. I'm looking at you, just kind of rolling my eyes, like,
Yeah.
is this really necessary or is
Yeah.
it needed?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's like, okay, so if you're making a movie for all audiences, then you don't need that. If your target audiences are, I don't know, 13 to 25, like, is that the demographic for this movie?
I think because they were teenagers, and like true teenagers. I don't know the ages of these actors.
Some of them looked old.
They look like they could have been early 20s.
Yeah.
But they were playing like, say, juniors or seniors.
They were seniors.
They were
because
seniors?
they said this
Okay.
is their last year of
Oh,
school.
okay.
Yeah.
So they were seniors. So I think that's the target audience, because, again, spoiler, the the bad guys are essentially, our generation.
Yeah, it's all the town folk.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So you can't, especially with horror movies, right? Because you and I are a perfect example of this. We love horror. Mm-hmm. That's why we're doing the podcast. We grew up.
We have fun with it.
We have fun with it. And it's like, so if you're only going to target a certain age group, then you lose people like you and I. You can't do that with horror movies. At least you shouldn't. I don't think it's a sustainable recipe.
Well, there's some movies that are made for us, and there's some that aren't. Like, for example, movies like Human Centipede 2 or the Serbian film. We know of them, but we know that they're not made for us.
No, but that is true, but that is a very, very small percentage of people enjoy that. I would argue that more people are going to enjoy Clown in a Cornfield, and I think it's going to hit more of a wider audience
because it's more of like
it's a more mainstream, right? The two that you mentioned, those aren't mainstream.
Yeah.
This is in a theater. Like people are going to go see this. And when you and I saw the trailer, I'm not saying you and I got duped. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But they did the trailer in a way that it resonated with me.
Yeah.
Like, I was excited to see
Well,
this.
I like the trailer because often, too many times, like we were talking about some of the trailers we saw before this movie, that they basically give you a 2-minute synopsis of the entire movie. So you watch the entire movie.
Yeah.
You just miss all the extra points, but you've seen the story. Yeah. And I like this trailer because it didn't give you that. It gave you enough, just little clips. You don't know what order they were in, and you don't know, exactly who the antagonist was, who the protagonists were. You just saw some people.
Yeah.
And just enough to kind of give you like a little taste.
Yeah.
I like trailers like that.
And I do too. And I mean, I when I saw it, I wanted to see it. We went and saw it.
Yeah.
But I felt like I mean, I don't want to say I kind of got like duped, but and maybe you don't feel that way. I just felt like the trailer looked one way, and I felt like I got not drastically different, but just a little. I don't know, man. It's hard to explain with me. Like I felt like what I saw in the trailer, and it wasn't like it was totally different. It just didn't have the same feel that I thought it was going to have when we sat down and watched it. And not to say that I didn't have some fun with it. I did have some fun with it.
Right.
But I wanted to really like this, and I wanted to walk away, and you and I sit down, and I talk highly of it, and I can't like this to me is an average horror movie.
Yeah.
Just in my opinion. This to me, if I am saying this is a out of 10, this is a 5 for me.
But
like that's all this is for me. There is nothing happened in this movie that you and I have never seen before.
Right.
Now, it could have been characters, it could have been dialogue, it could have been music, it could have been kills, it could have been just certain, I don't know, elements of the story.
Certain beats and just a certain vibe of the movie. I think I turned to you and I go, does this not kind of remind you of I Know What You Did Last Summer?
It did. There were several things.
And I know you don't like that movie where it's okay. Where I enjoyed it probably a little bit more.
You did. Like I said, it's okay. I mean, it was a typical of that era for horror movies. But I felt it was like horror movies were on a decline.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's an awful movie because you could put it in the category of Scream or Urban Legend and all these other ones.
It's a main, like you were saying, it's a mainstream movie for the masses and teenagers and maybe 20 somethings.
For sure.
Yeah.
But see, you and I are not 20 somethings.
No.
We're 50 somethings.
See, and I don't think this is really made exactly for us. I think it was marketed to be something, and then maybe that's where you're going with this.
Where I'm going with it. I feel like they did a great job because you and I ran to go see this.
Yeah,
and it honestly, you're correct. It's marketed to the younger crowd, but you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Not with horror movies because there are so many people out there that love horror movies. I understand there's newer generations of people coming up and they're into horror movies, but don't put yourself into this small little box where, okay, I'm only targeting whatever, a 15-year gap of whatever it is, 13 to 25,
but there are
30.
But there are beats of this movie that are stuff that we would normally like, I would think.
Yeah, there are some things. Yeah. There's a lot of tropes that you and I that we see in other horror movies, and I like some tropes. They're kind of they're fun.
Okay, so like the girl moves there with her dad, doesn't know anybody, starts school, and doesn't know how she's getting to school. She doesn't want her dad to drive her, so what does she do? She's gonna walk to school, and of course, the neighbor boy, that's the quiet, silent type.
Yeah. What's his name? Rust.
And he shows up at her door to introduce himself and then conveniently walks her to school. But he's, he's basically, like I said, he's a red herring. Or to you earlier, I said he's kind of a red herring.
Yeah.
Because we don't see him again.
For a while. We know he's going to come back into play at some point, and we know he is.
But they're setting him up to be like, okay, well, there's our clown.
But we know better than that.
Yeah.
You and I know better than that. And
I have watched movies to where they've done that, and then it's exactly that, And I was like, okay, where are they going with this story?
But I would argue that, let's say 9 times out of 10, it's not that.
It's not that.
It's that one time that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it does happen.
It does.
Every
once in a great while. Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think a lot of the stuff that was happening in this movie, I didn't relate to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what lost me on it because there are some cool kills, nothing that we haven't really seen before.
Right.
Like, I mean, their course is like a couple kills with the pitchfork, right?
Oh, I'll have to admit, man, I think the kills were gory enough. They weren't like trying to hold back. I mean, there was definitely a lot of.
Did you think so? See,
no, I did.
I thought they held back a little bit. Now, it's obviously not Terrifier,
no,
because that's crazy over the top.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. I felt at times there could have been maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, the first 2 kills, we get we see the girl, she's bleeding from her head. Looks like maybe she got stabbed or something in the head. And then her boyfriend gets pitchforked. And then we get another kill with the pitchfork later on in the movie. We get a decapitation with like a when the one jock guy is lifting weights and the clown basically decapitates him with a like a saw.
Yeah, like a.
It
wasn't a hacksaw.
It was like a hand, or I don't know.
Yeah, it was like a hand wood saw.
But I thought maybe we'd see a little more. When the Tucker got killed, I think he was the first guy to die out of the friend group, and he just got it. I think what did they slice his neck and he bleeded out. Like he bled out. It wasn't like crazy. Like
no, but
nowadays this is the thing, and this is okay. This is what bothers me a little bit. Okay, nowadays you are so used to seeing crazy over the top kills. And I think that is a result of the fact that you could pull up anything on a phone and see crazy shit. Yeah. So these kids have become desensitized, right? So in some of these movies, again, Terrifier, I'm going to keep mentioning that. Yeah. Those are crazy fucking over the top kills. And I think they do that because these kids get bored and and maybe they're not as entertained or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
And so if your target audience is the age group that you and I just mentioned, why didn't you go a little crazier on the harder kills?
Mm. Yeah, I guess I could see your point.
Well, I don't know.
You know, if they held back a little bit more on the kills. So, granted that I said that this movie reminded me not that the story was completely like I Know What You Did Last Summer, but it was in the vein of being kind of that archetype kind of story. That movie didn't have any of the blood that this one had.
Oh, no, not at all.
No, this one was definitely bloodier.
Oh, for sure. But remember the time. Remember when I Know What You Did.
And even Scream didn't have hardly any blood.
But again, remember the time.
Yeah.
It's vastly different now, dude.
Yeah.
Like when did Scream come out? Or 96? 96?
Yeah.
And I Know What You Did Last Summer is probably
97.
Okay. Very different than now.
Yeah.
Very different, man. I mean, you're talking a difference of almost 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to step it up these days because you got a lot more independent movies, right? And those are, you got the, hell, IFC does it, Shudder, this one was done by Shudder. You have the A24s, like they're doing, a lot of the stuff is more fucked up.
Yeah.
Unsettling.
Oh, you mean like in a violent nature?
That one was fine. I mean, the one kill, the yoga kill was awesome. But no, but even like you and I, The Dark and the Wicked, that's a movie that if you think about it, you turn it off once it's done, it sits with you for a while.
But that's a different type of movie.
I understand. Yeah. But what I'm saying, I think
one gets under your skin.
It does, but I'm telling you, they weren't doing that type of stuff in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's just a different era.
Yeah.
And so nowadays they have to make it more crazier and bloodier. I'm not saying I'm all about that. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Terrifier series.
I know you don't like gore.
I don't mind. I don't like as much gore as I used to.
You're right.
But I feel at times that it's warranted. And I felt like in this movie, you could have had just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I felt in Thanksgiving, it was a good amount.
It was like the perfect
amount.
And
if you think about it, wasn't Thanksgiving in a small little town too?
Oh,
and a character, right? I mean, Frendo is like this, this
mascot of the town. Yeah.
So, and you don't want to fuck with Frendo, I guess.
Like John Carver as the killer of the Thanksgiving town. I can't remember the name of.
I forget the name of the town too. So I don't know, man. Like there was nothing. I'm trying to think of some of the other kills. Like, what else do you got? I mean, honestly, when Tucker dies, right, and then the other guy, I forget his name.
And granted, that was, think about it. The first guy that dies happens to be.
Yeah, I know. A trope.
Yeah, a trope.
But then I think they go to the party, right? And then people start dying there. But this girl comes out of a cornfield.
Yeah.
And they think it's just a joke.
Yeah.
Well, she's dead. And
Because she has an arrow in her back.
an arrow in her back. We don't even get to see it.
Yeah.
And then the boyfriend's head flies over the corn, and they think it's again prosthetic and a joke.
Yeah.
And dude, there were at least 100 kids there. Where did they all go? Because the only ones that were left were the friend group.
Oh yeah. So yeah, after that we're left to see that Frendo comes out of the cornfield and is after our friend group.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like everybody runs into the barn. All the other kids run into the barn and lock the barn.
So they were in the barn. So all the rest of the kids were in the barn.
So yeah, did they not leave the barn after shit went down?
We never see it again. So like, they went in the barn, locked it up? Because technically,
Yeah.
look, let's just spoil it. It's literally like,
It's the town.
it's the town or all these different friendos, all
Yeah.
these different clowns.
Yeah.
But they were only going after the group of the friends.
Yeah, they didn't seem like they're going after. Because remember what? Spoiler: the mayor's in on it.
Yeah, the mayor, which is Cole. One of the main characters,
Yeah.
Cole. That's his dad.
Yeah.
So he's
So he says that every 30 years or so, there's a bad batch of kids.
Yeah.
And I guess they pinpointed these kids to be.
okay. Well, that was part of their plan though, because a year earlier, so a year earlier, Cole's sister died.
Yeah.
She jumped off of the cliff and
Or
didn't gauge it correctly. Did she drown or did they break her neck or she break her neck?
I'm guessing what he said was she jumped into the water, but she didn't jump far enough to where I'm guessing she probably hit a rock. Yeah.
Which happens more than you think.
Yeah.
So the dad blamed Cole for that. Then they do these friendo videos, for clickbait.
Yeah,
and
they do these fake murder videos.
Yeah,
where
of
they're
Frendo.
Yeah, a Frendo killing one of them.
Yeah, and so they did it in this. What was it? A mill or what was it?
Yeah, it was at the mill.
It was at the mill.
Yeah.
Now it's a running mill, and people were working there until the mill burned down, and so they blamed the kids, even though the kids had nothing to do with it.
Which is kind of crazy. They say it burnt down, but it was still standing. So what part of it burned down that wasn't working?
See, that's the thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You have all these people. Okay, let's say there were 100 people working at that mill.
Yeah.
Well, they're not working now. Well, couldn't the 100 of them get together and rebuild the thing because it was still standing?
Right.
Just fix the inside.
Just fix it. Yeah.
But I think it was the plan of the dad.
Yeah, we find that out at the very end that he blamed it on the kids, and it
was really him because he was losing money.
He was losing money and wanted insurance.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume the mill was where they were doing the syrup, the corn syrup.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's
yeah,
probably not big business in maybe corn syrup for that little town anymore.
Yeah, probably not like it was in the 30s.
Sure, or the 40s or whenever this was. Yeah, and so we find out that he burned the mill down.
Yeah.
But he lied to everybody.
He lied to all the other adults
so that they can get on board to killing all these kids.
Yeah.
And then we see once shit kind of goes crazy at that party, we start seeing a ton of friendos coming out of the cornfield.
Yeah. And I turn to you and I go, okay, well, that makes sense.
We kind of figured that was the case. I never thought there was only one.
Because the consensus was all the adults were, every time the kids were in town, that little group of kids, which were like, what, 5 kids? Yeah, 5 kids with the...
1, 2, I want to say there was... with the new girl?
With the new girl, that's
6 total, I think. Right.
So with that group of kids, whenever they were in town, everybody is like, oh, stay away from those kids. Those are bad kids.
They're bad kids.
So, yeah, they were all on board and getting rid of those kids.
And you know what's funny? This is what's funny. Is they really played it up, though. They drank, they smoked, they vaped. They
tried to have sex.
Yeah, they tried to have sex. They talked back in class. Like it was just the typical stuff.
The tropes of
being like I'm an asshole teenager and this in our group they're a bunch of dicks and
Yeah, so that's like a target on their back.
Yeah.
In a slasher.
And especially you can't do that in a small town.
No.
You can't do that. So, yeah. So
but were they super terrible? Remember when they were trying to get alcohol? I said,
well,
that's
Cole was the nice one.
Yeah.
He put money on the counter.
He put money on the counter when they took the alcohol and diverted the guy's attention. So
yeah, he did pay for it. I think
Yeah.
he put down maybe like $40, and I don't know if he took $40 worth of alcohol.
who knows? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Cole seemed to be a nice enough kid, right?
Yeah.
Rust was even though he wasn't part of their group, was a nice kid. Honestly, the girls,
they did play up that something was up with this group, and we almost thought that, okay, well, something's going on, and it's got to be one of these kids that's the killer, or all the kids that are the killer.
Could be,
because that's what I kind of thought at one point during the movie.
Well, I think though, if you remember, like the trailer gave away some stuff where it's like, okay, it's probably not all of the kids.
No,
it could, at some point we thought maybe Cole was part of it.
Yeah, and maybe they were playing along.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
But like some of the girls were playing along, especially that one scene where they're all covering their mouths,
Which scene?
With the scene where the girls are like trying to be quiet and covering each other's mouth.
Yeah, like
and then
that
Frendo
scene.
Covers our main girl's mouth.
That was actually pretty
Yeah.
good. That was in the trailer. I liked that part.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that shit.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that. Well, we got, okay. I'll tell you, like I said, there are elements I do like. I'll tell you what I disliked is I understand that it's the town folk that are doing the killings.
Right.
They made them to be like kind of bumbling idiots, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't they kind of?
Yeah, they should have been more like.
You know what? Okay.
It should have been more like honk honk, like killing clown, like hiding in the shadows and and like
something.
Squeak 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 squeak.
To me, it just like it almost took away from. It took away from this. I don't know. How do I explain it? I can't explain it. I just felt like making them kind of doofy and bumbling. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm on board if it's a bunch of the town folk. I'm cool with that. But make them like more badass, right? Like they don't,
But maybe they're just like we were saying.
Like, do you remember Hot Fuzz?
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz, they had their shit together.
Oh, yeah.
The town had their shit together in
And
Hot
they
Fuzz.
were all fucking killers.
Right? They were all killers, but they were good at it, and I felt like if you were going to do that with this movie, make them, I don't know, more of a unit and not kind of just dumb. Do like they have a chainsaw, but it stalls.
Yeah.
It was
another one had a sledgehammer.
It was just little shit like that. It just, I don't know. I just felt like it could have been better.
Well, I just think that maybe they didn't really think about it because since the mayor was the guy that's kind of masterminded it all, and I think everybody was following him. So they were just regular town folk. They weren't, geared to be killers. They were just kind of like,
I guess so.
Get the kids,
I guess I could see this if this was like, okay, he talked them into it, right? And let's call it a group of, say, I don't know. What would you say? Maybe 15 or 20?
Probably, yeah, 15
or 20. Okay, so let's say he convinces 20 of the people in town.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they just didn't have enough time to get their shit together.
Probably.
I guess I could be okay with that.
Yeah.
They just were like, oh, let's kill these fuckers and maybe they'd have enough time to practice and have meetings and work out the logistics of
have diagrams on the wall of how the sledgehammer's going in.
Right? There's like little goofy blueprints of stuff like the cartoons we grew up on.
Here's an extra can of gasoline when the chainsaw stalls, and here's a little oil can for the chain.
I don't know if you're this is a stupid question, but if you're a killer and let's say you're one of the friendos and your job is you're the chainsaw guy, you got to make sure that shit is tight and running properly, right?
Right.
You can't, because one of the most intimidating things in any horror movie is a chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
If you're the one who got I don't know, volunteered or you won the job of I'm the chainsaw clown, that shit has to be running.
I thought about this many times about a chainsaw. I'm definitely not bringing the fucking Leatherface chainsaw, the big ass chainsaw.
Oh, the big old one.
Dude, I'm bringing a small one.
A small.
Yeah. Because it's still effective, but you can run with it and it's not so heavy.
For sure, man. I don't know. Like, wasn't there a scene when they were like, hey, we got to go to, I don't know, Aunt B's house or whatever it was. They got a landline.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just making that up. Most of the people listening to this are not going to realize that's from the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, yeah.
But let's go to so-and-so's house. And remember when they got there, the clown was like passed out because it got burnt from the explosion in the barn?
In the barn, yeah. But I didn't realize that until I kind of thought about it. I'm like, why is this, half his face looks like it's melted with acid or something?
He was just at the party trying to kill these kids, and he got burned. One was at one got his hand blown off, and so they were trying to get that fixed. And
yeah, we never knew what happened with the barn full of kids because that was a barn that's still on the same property.
Exactly. And then what happened to the Cole's dad, the mayor?
Yeah.
He literally drove off and we never heard from him again.
I think he's probably in book 2.
Maybe he's in book 2. I haven't read these books.
Yeah, neither have I.
And so,
but I'm sure there might be a fan of the books out there. You guys are probably screaming at us right now.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
I didn't read the books. Maybe the books explain a lot of this, but if you're going to give me a movie that I'm going to go pay for and watch, I'm going to have questions and I'm going to have issues with stuff. And you and I both know most of the time the movie doesn't do the book justice.
Or even in the case of another movie that's out right now, people are fans of that Until Dawn video game. And they're saying that the movie isn't anything like the video game.
I couldn't imagine it is, though.
Yeah.
When is it ever?
But, maybe we would enjoy the movie because we both haven't seen, at this point, we both haven't seen Until Dawn. I think you might be seeing it tomorrow.
I might go take my mom to see it, yeah.
Yeah, but, we might enjoy that because we don't have that expectation of it being like the game.
No, you can't.
Or people like this, like us, we like or don't like this movie because we're not basing it on the book, because it failed to be like the book,
And most of the time that's the case, though, Morris.
Yeah,
like
that's
most
true.
of the I mean, we could go back forever and on books that were adapted to like the screen.
Yeah.
And most of the time, especially if you got a 500 or 600 page book, how are you going to get that in an hour and a half?
I'll be honest with you. When I was 19 or 20, I read Pet Sematary because I heard it was coming into the theater. Yeah. I read Pet Sematary. I finished the book the night before I went to go see it, before it premiered in the theater. And, dude, I was pleasantly surprised that the movie was just as good as what I felt like the book was as well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you said, it didn't have enough to fill those pages because there was so much more in the book.
Dude, I mean, like we could give an example. This isn't horror, but Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, how many books? 7 or 8 or whatever? 7 of them? I always forget.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know a lot of people, like Donovan, for instance, has read Harry Potter multitude of times. You can't fit all of that into a 2-hour movie.
No.
You can't. Even though if you have 8 movies, you still can't do it.
Those are geared more for like a miniseries.
Yeah. Exactly. You're not going to be able to develop characters like you want. You're going to have to cut stuff out. That's what happens. And maybe that's what happened in this. Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm having such an issue with it, or where I feel it's a bit of a mess. Like I've seen far worse.
Yeah. And
maybe because they had to take 2 or 3 books and make it into one movie, or maybe they have plans for a sequel. I'll be honest, dude. I don't think I would see the sequel to this.
Yeah.
This just didn't do it for me.
Oh, there was one part of the movie I wanted to talk about that kind of bothered me. So, father, doesn't know where his daughter's at. And does he figure out that she went to a party without...
No, because remember he drove past his office and realized the door was broken in.
No, but when he originally left his house, was he on his way to go?
Oh, I think he was just going trying to find her.
Trying to find her on the streets?
He was just driving because it's a small town.
Yeah.
Right?
So he did find that his doctor's office, the window was like broken, or the door was broken. So he's like, what the hell? And he went to go and investigate. Obviously, there was 2 friendos in there. One was hurt real bad.
That was the one who got shot by the in the hand with a shotgun.
Yeah, he got his hand shot off. So another one was in there, and he's like, fix him,
Yeah.
And with the knife on him, on the doctor. So, doctor's trying to help the guy with the hand, and was it because did he hear something about his daughter on the intercom?
Yeah, on the little walk. Yeah,
so
I think
maybe
it was-
that's why
yeah.
he reacted. Because I almost thought that this was a little out of character. It's like, okay, well, he doesn't know that. All he knows is this one clown guy that won't take off his mask, because neither one of them took off their mask.
Yeah,
That his hand was missing, but he planned to, he just reacted and cut the other guy in the throat.
Yeah, he stuck
Stabbed
he
him.
stuck he stuck the knife. He stuck the knife in his throat, in his neck, but he also told him to leave it in.
Yeah.
And of course, the dude pulls it out and bleeds out. But I think it's because, they were all communicating by, let's just call it walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a walkie-talkie, but let's just say that. And so you can overhear all the stuff that's happening. Because, again, you got these unorganized friendos going around, and shit's kind of didn't...
Yeah.
It didn't happen like they thought it was going to happen.
And then maybe the doctor didn't know what kind of danger his daughter was in.
Exactly.
So that's probably
I
why
would
he
absolutely
reacted
do
like that. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I mean, this was okay for me. Like this, you and I, we've seen far worse.
Oh yeah.
We've seen better. This is just middle of the road for me. I wanted to love this movie. I was stoked about seeing it, and it just was whatever.
So let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best, obviously.
Yeah.
What would you give this?
Well, earlier I said I give it a 5 out of 10, so this is a 2.5 for me.
2.5.
It's in the middle.
And I give this a 3.5 out of 5.
You really?
Yeah, I did.
You'd give it a 3.5.
3.5,
So
yeah.
you obviously enjoyed it more.
I
than
did.
me,
I did enjoy
which
it.
happens a lot with
Yeah.
you and I.
Yeah.
I think I'm just, as I've gotten older, I'm just more like, I don't know. I feel like nowadays, I love this. I'm not saying I love the story, but I kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
And so, you're more forgiving.
Yeah.
You enjoy stuff way more than me these days.
I had some
and-
fun with it. Was it a great movie? Not at all. But was it a fun
So-
movie for me? Yeah, it was a fun movie.
So out of 10, this is like a 7 for you? Because I'd be
out of
surprised.
10, this is more of a 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right
Yeah.
for you. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Would I recommend it to someone? I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I was like, hey, you could check it out. You know what I would do? I'd say, hey, check it out, and then let me know what you think, and let's talk about it. That's kind of where I would be.
Okay.
I'm not going to say, oh no, this is a total piece of shit. Don't go see it.
Right.
That's not here.
I say give it a chance. If you love slashers, give it a chance, and then after you watch it, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
It's not your thing. And it really wasn't for me. And I
Yeah.
wanted to be. Dude, I really was excited about this. I really was hoping this would be just a fucking home run. And it wasn't.
Maybe if there is a sequel, maybe the sequel's better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's Clown in a Cornfield. Anything else?
Nope.
Nothing else you want to talk about? I can't really think of anything that jumped out at me
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, cool. Well, that's Clown in a Cornfield, everyone. Thanks for listening. Everyone, take care. You're such a dork. You're just a little dude. Whatever. Get the hell out of here.
All right.
All right, buddy. Thanks again for coming out, man.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Bye. You listened all the way to the end. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ear for Fear Podcast, Twitter at Ear for Fear, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ear for Fear Podcast. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There we list news and events. We're available on all the main platforms, so make sure you tell a friend. We hope you come back and get an earful.